All right, here's a topic that everyone seems to be noticing is that my driving bridles are very unique for most people to see that have horses. In the driving world, they're not that unique. What we end up having is a 2-bit system for the majority of our horses, and each bit has a different purpose for each horse. Each horse has their individual bridle. And for me, in order to keep everybody straight, I ended up putting a little tag on everyone's ears. So you will be able to see that. When I say that almost everybody has 2 bits, there is an exception to the rule. So we'll start off with Ellie. Got E for Ellie. She is the only mare that goes, only full Clyde, that goes in only 1 bit. It took a lot of trial and error of long lining her individually on her own to work out, realizing that if I completely removed the use of the check bit, she was actually performing better. She is one of our more naturally well headset animals. So I just trust her that she wants to keep where she is at. She does have side checks that just kind of keep her in what height I want, and the rest is up to her. She does not require a very tight bridle. She actually prefers her bit to hang a little lower in her mouth. Honestly, more than I would prefer, but I just keep an eye on her ear motion. And when I seem to have this a little, what I would say sloppy in her mouth, she ends up being happier. So she's very unique in that sense. We have the Vivian. This sweet child of mine was born here on the farm. She is a 4-year-old and she's a wheel mare. She was trained by myself. She's pretty gentle in the mouth, so she has a pretty smooth bit. But she really hates having her head up, so there's just a little bit of twist of encouragement in order to require her to have her head lifted. And of course, she got V. Next, we have her teammate. This is Striker. Striker is our 3-year-old stud who is very hard-headed. This isn't always the check bit that we get to use. So it is a little stronger. Again, that twisted, that's kind of keeping her going. I do have to change out the bridle because he's not working well in one that is got the tie. He is a strong-willed horse, so he actually has a twisted bit as well. It just helps me be able to hardly communicate with him or communicate softer while being more direct with what I'm asking. Next, now this one's a little confusing as it is an L, but this is Blair's. The reason why is her mother's name also starts with B, and thankfully while I was registering this mare, I gave her a 2-part name. Blair is very soft. She does hold her head in position, so she has a smooth check bit and a smooth driving bit. She's not very high in her training. She's just not really in the hitch as much, so she doesn't need anything that takes requirement of special needs. This next one is Reena, another soft in the mouth mare. She will actually be getting traded out of this bridle. As I was talking about, Striker's bridle that has it sewn here, these two need to get swapped out. This tends to come up towards the top, pinch, and get in her eyes. When I need this on Striker's because Striker's starting to have a little rub mark on his forehead where it pinches. So we'll be trading those out. She goes in a miler bit, along with this one is Bailey's. Bailey is the one who gets the B on her bridle. She gets a very different check bit. She has a tendency to not like to lift her head either, but it does break down, so it's a little more gentle than before. She goes in the same miler bit that Reena's in. These were originally purchased in order to have tongue relief for a horse who is no longer with us. They're just a gentle, overall nice bit. Hers does need to get cleaned off. Just came straight out of her mouth. So, on to the next one. We have Joey. Joey, my man, has a little bit of a different type of head position than others. He's got his J for Joey. He gets a little tongue relief that he seems to work well for the archway. He has the other split one. And he also does not love having his head up. So he has a thinner wire that snaps in the middle to try to help with the encouragement of lifting. Nobody is currently in this bridle. This I have jokingly called the Belgian bit. The Belgian bit because I have a friend who has a hitch of Belgians and they almost all go in this. They love this bit. My mares tend to think that this is too fat for them. They got a little more feminine, smaller face, jawline, and this is kind of keeps their mouth a little wide open. I did think that this was going to be the go-to bit for everyone. I thought that being a large hollow, they were going to enjoy it. I was wrong. Sometimes that happens. So next would be my training bit. My training bit is on Tilly, T, but I also tend to use it on Roxanne. It is a leather wrapped chain, so I'll try to show you guys that it's extremely flexible, at least as far as bits go compared to a solid rod. A very gentle curb, nice tongue relief, so it just goes off the pressure of the roof of the mouth. Tilly and Roxanne are very green in their training. So they end up getting something that doesn't really require them to like pull onto it. Hopefully it will lead them to want to chew on it. It will lead for them to want to push into it and get contact. But nice, gentle baby bit to learn on. The last bridle, you guys will notice, is extremely different compared to everybody else's. First off, it's significantly lighter. I do not have a check bit on it yet. We will be putting some version of a check because this is my half Clydes. My half Clyde is half Clyde and half thoroughbred, and she has just started her training with driving. So she obviously, being half and half, does not have the large head that they all do. So she had to have something a little smaller for her frame. And then she's got a much more narrow bit. You guys can tell if I grab, maybe I have a loose one. Compared to this, it is a much smaller bit. This bit can actually fit around it. So she's got a little smaller head, a little more gentle frame, a little new to the thing. So she's got a very simple bridle. I try to keep them simple until they've required something different. I try to keep them uniformed. I do buy all my bits from the same company, so that way they all are matching. It's also a great way to have a relationship with a one bit master, so that way you can tell them what you're kind of needing, and they will help you out. So I do have buckets of bits in case any of them sort of start having other issues or changing how they're driving. You can change them out quickly and I don't have to wait for them to come in the mail. But I hope you guys learned something about the various bridles and bits that I have going on, and that maybe the next time you watch a live, you'll understand why who is in what they are. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.